Have you ever looked at your budget or bank account and wondered, am I doing this right? Am I on the right track? Is all of this heading in the right direction? On this channel, we talk a lot about how to fix financial messes, how to get out of debt, how to make sure that we are making a budget, building up an emergency fund, making wise financial decisions. But today I want to approach this from a little bit of a different angle. How can you know if you're on the right track financially? Now, you're going to find plenty of content creators in the financial space that will give you benchmarks and metrics and numbers to compare yourself to. And there is a place for that. But today, I want to approach that question from a bit of a different perspective. I'm Sarah, I'm a Christian, and I'm also a certified financial educator. And biblical stewardship and doing money God's way according to biblical principles is my passion. I have personally seen how that has changed the trajectory of our financial lives. I've known and felt the peace and the joy and the purpose and the contentment and all of that comes when you do money God's way. And I want to help you have that too. And that's why I created this channel, It's All His, to remind us that as we're managing our money, it's all God's, we're just stewards. He gives us some to manage and we're to do it His way for His glory. So if that sounds like the kind of channel that would encourage you and motivate you and spur you on, consider subscribing because I do new videos here every week. As we're looking to see if we're on the right track financially, we have to make sure that we're thinking about it biblically and that we're protecting ourselves against the sin of pride. Because when we start comparing our finances to other people or different metrics, we can be very tempted to kind of fall into two ditches. We're either going to get really discontented and feel down on ourselves, or if you are on the right track financially, you're going to start to feel potentially puffed up and prideful. No matter where you fall on the timeline of your financial journey, and we're all in different places, we want to do everything we can to guard our hearts against feeling prideful because it's all God's money. And whatever we currently have or wherever we currently are on our journey, it's because of Him. He's given you the wisdom and the direction that got you to that good place. He's been helping to provide and take care of you and help you to get focused and give you that self-control. He's given you the skills and the opportunities that allowed you to earn and build the wealth that you do have. So guarding our hearts as we think about, am I on the right track, is important. We want to start from remembering it all belongs to God, and we want to give the glory to Him for where we're at, not be puffed up and prideful in ourselves. So many content creators in this space are going to focus in on just the worldly things. So as we dive in and take a check to see how we're doing financially, let's guard our hearts against pride and give all the glory to God because He's the one who deserves it. All right, let's get into it. The first sign that you are on the right track financially is that you make a budget and you stick to it. Just the fact that you create a budget every month, every 2 weeks, however you do it, you're making a plan for your money and you're putting it into action. Now, it might not always be perfect. Every one of my budgets isn't perfect. There are things that happen that are unforeseen. There are times that we go over, but you have a plan. You have a purpose in mind as you are spending your money. You're keeping tabs on how much you're spending. If this describes you, you are in a good place. A recent penny hoarder study found that over 55% of Americans don't use a budget at all. And about the same percentage have literally no idea how much money they're spending every month. So if you are keeping track of those two things, then you are on the right financial path. And if you're not and you need some help, I created a video about 5 different types of budgets, ways to think about budgeting that might help you get there. So I will link a card here and put that in the description down below. The next sign that you are on the right financial track is that you are living on less than you make. You're living below your means. You're not living paycheck to paycheck. I made a recent video about what that means and ways that you can get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle that I will also link down below. The next sign that you are on the right track financially is that you are avoiding lifestyle creep. And you guessed it, I made a video about that too. So again, will be linked down in the description. Basically, lifestyle creep is just what happens when you start to make more money and you just raise your lifestyle incrementally with your pay. Rather than finding contentment with where you are today and then using the money when you get that next raise to work towards your financial goals. You just slightly creep up that standard of living. Maybe this means you go out to dinner more, or you buy nicer clothes, or you take nicer vacations than you were doing before. When the wiser thing to do would be to keep living at that standard and then use that difference, use that extra money to work towards those goals that you have. If you are avoiding lifestyle creep and practicing contentment right where you're at, then you are on the right financial track. The next sign that you are on the right track financially is that you have some sort of an emergency fund. According to a recent Motley Fool survey, only 39% of Americans say that they have emergency savings. Without emergency savings, you are vulnerable to more and more credit card debt because what are you going to do when that unexpected medical bill or flat tire pops up? Ideally, you want to have 3 to 6 months of expenses set away once you're out of debt. But even if you have something, you're ahead of the game. The next sign that you are on the right track is you are managing your debt wisely. You know the difference between good debt and bad debt. You know that consumer debt, credit cards and car payments, things that are debt on depreciating assets with higher interest rates aren't wise. And if you have those kinds of debts, you're working to get those paid off quickly. You also know that you can use debt for things like a mortgage or wisely taking out student debt, but you don't overextend yourself, and you work on paying that off as fast as you can. The average American has over $6,000 of credit card debt. So if you are below that, or if you are staying out of debt, or you're working to get that paid off, you are ahead of the game. The next sign that you are on the right track financially is that you are saving for retirement. Whatever this might look like for you, you're making sure that you're putting aside some amount of money every month, every paycheck, toward that long-term goal of retirement. You're letting the beauty of compound interest work in your favor. Now, you do want to make sure that you're putting enough away in retirement, but some is better than nothing. And you can always gradually increase that over time. As you find more breathing room in your budget, you're paying off debt, you're not having lifestyle creep, you'll see that you have more and more money that can go towards that long-term retirement savings. The Proverbs teach us that wealth gained little by little lasts, and hasty wealth dwindles. So keep doing that little by little faithful saving. Start as early as you can. If you haven't started yet, start now. It's worth it to trim and make the cuts that you can make to start putting something away for the future. And that can mean a future of more freedom for you, more ability to say yes to family needs, obligations, and fun, more ability to be generous and serve and bless others. And it can be achieved by just putting away a little at a time over a long period of time. If you're doing this, you are on a good track. The next sign that you're on the right track financially is you have the right insurance protections in place. I made a video about insurance too. I'll link that one down below as well. There's going to be a lot of videos linked, so definitely check out the description box to find some more guidance on each of these topics. There are a lot of insurance policies that make so much sense to protect you, your family, and your assets. Things like having homeowners insurance, life insurance, so if something happens to you, your family will be taken care of and bills could be paid without causing stress. I'm going to put a link in the description to Xander Insurance. They're the insurance broker that we've been using for over a decade. They're not sponsored. I don't get anything out of it. In fact, I was just emailing back and forth with my Xander gal last week to make sure before my auto insurance renews, because we've got 2 teenage boys on the policy now and it's pretty expensive. I wanted to make sure that we are still getting the best deal. They shop it around for me and they make sure that I am getting the best price. It's worth the time to just reach out to companies like Xander and make sure that you're getting the right insurance protection at the best price you can. The next sign that you are on the right track financially is more of a heart sign, and that is that you are growing in contentment. You are happy with where God has you, and you don't constantly have your eyes looking toward more, better. You don't hear about somebody else's house or vacation and just want and long for that. You say, Lord, I'm happy with where you have me. The home that I have, the vacations I've been able to take, the car that I drive, whatever it may be, it's enough and I am thankful. If you are growing in contentment and thankfulness, then you're on the right track with your finances, because that's how you are the best steward of God's money, because you're just thankfully storing what he has for you right now, what he has placed in your hands right now, and you're not worried about what he's given to anybody else. That's not your business. The next sign that you are on the right track financially is you are well aware of your financial weaknesses and you have put guardrails in place to protect yourself. No matter how good you think you are at money, and again, we want to guard our hearts against that pridefulness. We all have those pitfalls. We all have those temptations. Being honest with yourself about what they are and asking God's help and wisdom to protect against them is a great sign that you're on the right financial track. So maybe this looks like unsubscribing from social media accounts or getting rid of those emails that come into your inbox telling you about a sale from your favorite store that happen like every day. This could look like taking the time on the weekend to meal prep for the week ahead, so you're not tempted after a busy day to run through that drive-thru or go out to eat, saving yourself a lot of money in the process. Or maybe this looks like having a regular accountability buddy for different aspects of your budgeting. However you put these guardrails in place, if you're doing them and you are honest with yourself and aware of your pitfalls, you are in a great place, because most people are not taking this step. And if you aren't taking this step, don't feel condemned. This is your sign to do it. Start thinking through and praying through, where are my weak spots? What are the areas that my budget tends to always fail? Because it really does tend to be in a pattern. We all sort of have those areas that are going to tempt us to break that budget plan. Pray, ask for wisdom, seek some wise counsel in your life, and set up those guardrails now so that you can be on the right financial track. The next sign that you are on the right track financially is you are growing in generosity. For us as Christians, we want to be cheerful and sacrificial givers. We want to care more about God's kingdom purposes, about the gospel going forth, and about blessing and helping those who are in need, because that's what the Bible tells us to do. Now, this generosity looks different no matter where you're at in your journey. For some, sacrificial generosity could be giving 1% of their paycheck. For others, it's giving many, many thousands of dollars a month. Whatever that looks like for you, think about, am I being generous? Do I have a desire for generosity? Am I a cheerful giver? Because if you see that you are, that is a wonderful sign that you have the right biblical perspective on stewardship and you're growing in spiritual maturity when it comes to your finances. Because we know it's all God's anyway. He doesn't need us to give it back to him. He already owns it all. But when he gives it to us and we joyfully give some of what's already his back for his purposes, it's growing our faith. It's helping us to trust him. It's helping us to live with our hands open, knowing that God will take care of our needs and knowing that God will satisfy us and that he is our ultimate source of satisfaction and joy, and not the stuff, not the houses, not the cars, not the trips, but God. And the next sign that you're on the right financial track is you are watching videos like this. You are desiring to learn and grow and do better as a steward, because none of us have arrived. As we live in this world and as we deal with sin in our flesh, even Christians, we are going to struggle in this realm. We deal with money every single day. When you're dealing with something every day and you're a sinner, you are going to have areas of weakness. But the fact that you're watching this video, the fact that you want to be a better steward, is a great sign that you're on the right track. You're not believing the lie that, oh, I'm just bad with money. I could never be good with money. I've made too many mistakes. No, you're believing in the truth that God will help you, that his word has the principles that you need to follow so that you can manage his money well, and that any financial mistakes from your past can be repented of and turned away from as you set your feet to God's path for your money. This is what my husband and I did when we became Christians 13 years ago. And it has been life-changing and amazing to watch God work in our circumstances and on our hearts through it all. And that's what I want for you. So don't be discouraged. If you didn't check all of these boxes, it's okay. That's why you're here. You want to learn how to be a better steward of God's money. We all want to. And if you've got all these boxes checked, guard your heart against pride. Remember, it's God that got you there, and seek to be even better at each of these different things, whether that looks like more discipline in your budget, more accountability in your life, more guardrails, or more generosity. We can always seek to do better and manage God's money better for his glory. Don't fix your eyes too firmly on your circumstances or what anyone else is doing with their money. Keep your eyes fixed on God, because he is where your hope and your help comes from. If you found this helpful, would you click that like button? It really helps the channel reach more people. And if you want to talk more about managing money to the glory of God, click over into this playlist next, and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching.